Hello, everyone. Welcome to Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness 302. I'm Curtis Brown, your instructor for the course. You've had an opportunity to look at my bio and the course documents, but just want to give a little bit of background about myself, overview of the course, and specifically the course requirements and what we're going to be doing over the course of this semester. So just way as background for me, I currently work as the Chief Deputy State Coordinator at the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. We're responsible for all hazards preparedness across the Commonwealth, working closely with our local government, as well as FEMA, federal partners for disasters that occur here in Virginia. Last year was a very active year. We had two presidentially declared disasters, Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Michael. They caused damage across the state, including a couple of fatalities. So we work with our local government partners to provide support, send resources for response, and then coordinate the longer effort of recovery. And so I have experience working on the state level. I worked in Hampton Roads, which is the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area for a while, working on all hazards planning and with the emergency managers in that region. And I worked on Capitol Hill on the House Committee on Homeland Security, working on Homeland Security emergency management policy from a federal perspective. So I've been blessed to have an opportunity to look at Homeland Security emergency preparedness from the local, regional, state, and federal level, and I think it'll be helpful for this course. Again, if you have any other questions about my background, feel free to shoot me an email. Or we can set up a call. I've been able to review everyone in class's background. It's great to see so many people who are interested in public service. A lot of you all would like to work on the federal, state, or local level. A lot of folks on the federal level, some working internationally through the State Department. So a broad background of experience, desired future experience in public service, and some of you all have actually worked in emergency management already. I saw someone had worked with FEMA Corps, so I think this course will complement your future career goals by giving you a good baseline understanding of emergency management and homeland security, and that would be important whether you work in law enforcement, fire, of course in FEMA. It's good to have a good core understanding of emergency management and how it relates to all those disciplines. I did provide a brief response to your intros from last week, so feel free to look back at that. Now, as we look at the course overview, well, let me back up real quick. My goal for each week is to post a brief video to highlight the reading and the course objectives for that week. Now, this week it might be a little longer, but I'm trying to keep these at about 10 minutes just to highlight some important points that I want you to look into as you do the course reading, just so you have a good sense of the objectives for the week. Some weeks I might not post a video. It might just be a post in Blackboard, or I might shoot out an email. More than likely it'll be a post in Blackboard, but the focus will still be to highlight some of the course objectives. So, you've had an opportunity to read the course description. The main point here is I want you to consider, the job requirements and the daily tasks of an emergency manager, and understanding the basic tasks of emergency preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery. And through those frameworks, understanding what does it take to deal with all of the complexities that come with managing an emergency, not just when the incident occur, which actually is rather rare in most cases. It's the buildup and the preparation to when an event occurs, the planning, the training, the coordination, the multiple meetings with different partners to assess their capabilities. So understanding all those different elements of emergency management, and understanding who emergency managers meet with, who they partner with, and it's not just governmental officials, it's also the nonprofits and the private sector. We'll talk briefly about critical infrastructure in the course, and these are the power plants, the critical facilities that dictate how well our society runs. The majority of these critical facilities are owned in the private sector, so they have to be our partners in preparedness and emergency management, homeland security. And so, through the framework of emergency management, as an emergency manager, we'll look at preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery. We'll consider some of the stresses that comes to the profession, some of the emerging threats. A lot of you have discussed 9/11 and how important 9/11 was in terms of your interest in emergency management. Terrorism is still a threat, and an emerging threat as it relates to terrorism is domestic terrorism, not just internationally inspired terrorism. So we'll talk about that as well as, of course, natural disasters, which have been becoming more impactful and frequent. And I mentioned my experience here in Virginia last year was historically one of the most impactful years in terms of disasters in Virginia. And we'll discuss a little bit more about that. So the course objectives, again, to increase your knowledge of the fundamentals of emergency management, to better understand some of the core concepts like the National Incident Management System, understand the importance of the Comprehensive Planning Guide to guide the development of emergency operation plans, to understand the National Response Framework and the various agencies who are responsible for emergency management's roles and responsibilities. And again, not just the government, but also the private sector, nonprofit organizations. So my hope is that at the end of this course, you have a better sense of what emergency management is, the complexities of it, and how important the field is to ensuring our nation's readiness for all hazards, not just natural disasters, but also man-made disasters and accidents. And again, some of it is ensuring that you can communicate effectively, understand the core concepts and the vocabulary of emergency management, be able to understand the fast-paced nature of emergency management, and hopefully prepare you for a career in the field or a career in which you understand and respect the field and can support it in some way. There is a textbook required for the course. I sent the post related to possibly some delays with the bookstore getting the book, but it should be coming in now. You can also get an online version. Most weeks there will be some reading from the textbook, but I did want to mix up the course with textbook reading as well as articles and some videos. So it won't just be textbook reading, but it is an important part of the course. And I think it's actually a textbook that you could use as you continue in your profession. I actually refer back to the textbook sometimes as in my career now. So it's one of those textbooks that you might want to keep. I know you can get some money selling it back, but if you're interested in the field, you might want to keep it for the future. Again, this is an online course. Being an online course is a little bit different than coming to class each week. It relies on the belief that you're going to be reading the actual course material. So if you want to be successful in this course, I definitely encourage you to read the course material, read it and understand it. If you have any questions, please pose that in the discussions or send me an email. If you look at the course syllabus, each week I have reading, which is kind of, is required reading, reading that you should read, front to start to finish. And then I have reference reading. That's reading which it would be value for you to read from start to finish, but if you can understand the core concepts of the reading, you can strategically skim, I guess that's the term I'll use. You can look through it and hopefully understand the core concepts. And I've posted the entire document. I didn't give a page number to read from the document, but the concept is that you can understand the core concepts of that document. So for this week, the reference reading is a FEMA document, the Threat Hazard Identification Risk Assessment Guide. It's a guide that will help you understand how emergency managers identify threats and hazards in their community and rank those. And so skim through that, read through it, usually read the introduction and understand the core concepts of it. And again, that correlates directly to our discussion board